Hey, hello, and welcome to episode 161 of the Nintendo Fun Club podcast. I'm Ryan, and joining me, as always, is John.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
Oh, thanks, man. I mean, at this age, I don't really want to make a big deal about it. It's just another day, and birthday's
Dude,
kind of.
dude,
Oh,
no. Your birthday's over. I'm talking about Nintendo
oh,
Switch turning 1 year old this weekend.
oh. That is true. So,
Happy
thank-
birthday, Switch. And happy
thankfully,
birthday. And happy birthday, Ryan.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we have a very extensive, well thought out 1 year Switch anniversary retrospective episode today.
Yep. Total. Yep. It's the whole
We've
thing.
been planning this for a year. No, we don't actually.
We were going to do it, but then Nintendo decided to erase all Switch play data after 1 year or whatever.
Yeah, so I actually forgot all the games I played because I apparently played them 0 hours. Yeah, that's pretty lame.
Yeah,
I don't love that.
no, it's a bummer. But
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't really matter, but I like being able to see how much time I've spent on a game and also see like how much time friends have spent on a game. I feel like that is like the closest thing to like leaderboards or achievements that we have on the Switch is like, that's kind of what determines, who's really put the literal time into games.
yeah.
I think I really like that feature. Nintendo had some like real weird response to it. Like, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter,
Mm-mm.
but they were like, we understand that players are finding their playtime erased and we're investigating it or something.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah, I think best case scenario and ideally what it is that, it's just the way they wrote that. I don't know what you call it, but that software, little system or compiler or whatever is like just to look at the playtime for a finite amount of time. But, I would assume that stuff is all recorded and like, that there's a record of that data. It's just like on the front end on the software side, like the user experience, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a, dude that knows how to like the right terms for that stuff, but like the way it's presenting it to us is, hey, we'll show you that stuff for a year is how it was coded. And then they can just code that to be for 10 years or, 50 years or whatever, like ideally so that like they could just, update that, turn that on, and then like that data would be there again or something, So, because I'm sure it's just looking at a record that's on the Switch somewhere and presenting it to us. And then it's probably just written to do that for 1 year and then stop, So hopefully they could just turn that on and say, oh, don't show it for 1 year, show it for 5 years, and then it would be back. That'd be the best case scenario because it's just a weird thing. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing you do on purpose, although with Nintendo, you never know. But it more seems like a thing where it's like, oh, yeah, let's just code that in. Okay, show it for a year. And then like now that the year has actually passed, maybe they didn't even know if the Switch would exist for a year or not, but now that it's...
Well, I hope they had higher aspirations.
Yeah. But anyway, it's not that big of a deal, like you said. But I'm not going to go so far as to say I have faith because I don't have faith that it's going to come back. But I think it's very possible. But it is the 1 year anniversary of the Switch. We're not devoting the whole episode to it. But my God, what a year, huh?
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
Best first year ever. I mean, very close to. It's incredible. So.
Yeah.
I wish I had made like a cupcake or something. I actually thought about it. I should have had a cupcake with a candle this morning, or something like that. But
yeah, I think I will need to celebrate today by going on to the eShop and buying a Neo Geo arcade archive. I feel like that's the most appropriate way for me to celebrate. And speaking of that, Hamster just revealed their next batch of ACA Neo Geo games coming, and this is coming from our friend Japanese Nintendo, and he posted the next batch of games coming, which include Real Bout Fatal Fury, which is awesome. Aero Fighters 3, which is awesome. And I'm a huge fan of Aero Fighters too, so I'm really, really excited for that shmup. World Heroes 2 Jet, which is World Heroes. You know, if that's your thing, cool. Sengoku 3, which is really, really exciting. I think it's the best game in the crazy brawler series, Sengoku series. I've been playing Sengoku 2, which just dropped on the eShop this week, and those games are so ridiculous and so fun. Samurai Showdown 3, not the best in the series, but still pretty solid. Ghost Pilots, which I have never played, but someone on Twitter responded to this news and was like, Ghost Pilots is my favorite shooter ever.
Oh, wow.
So that's got me super curious. I'm excited to check that out. Gurudin, which I have no idea what this game is, but it looks like super cute and weird. It is by a developer called Face, who I don't know anything about, so I'm super curious to see what that game even is. Stakes Winner, which is pretty exciting. That is a Neo Geo horse racing game.
Oh.
Yeah. Which could, like, I mean, horse racing is kind of gross, but a Neo Geo interpretation of it could be super cool and weird and fun. So I'm excited to maybe check that out. And then Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, which, you know, with the Fatal Fury Special games, it usually, I haven't played Real Bout Special, but in the case of like Fatal Fury 2 and Fatal Fury Special, it's usually just like adding some characters and fixing like some glitches, maybe tweaking the movesets a little bit. So yeah, I'm not sure which is the preferable version, but the Real Bout Fatal Fury games are legit great. And they're some of the best looking fighters on the system. So all in all, it is a pretty exciting lineup. And it should be a great, this is probably going to take us through like 2.5 months of Neo Geo releases on the Switch. So super exciting.
Cool.
Yeah. Other news, Black Panther. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I have not seen it yet.
Oh, it's so good. It might be the best superhero movie ever made. I love it so much. I need to see it again. But it is so good. So the director, Ryan Coogler, was interviewed in, like, you know, a press junket or whatever about the movie, and it turns out he had recently purchased a Nintendo Switch, and he has been playing a ton of Stardew Valley. So not really news, but kind of news, and that just makes me love him and his movie even more, which I already loved a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I can't wait to go see it. It's just been a couple busy weekends, and I'm kind of waiting because I really want to take Owen with me when I go. So I could have gone like to a late night showing here once or twice, but I'm waiting for a free Saturday morning where I can take Owen and probably Elliot too.
Yeah. Actually, Lindsay and I were talking, and we think that this is one of like the most it's weird because it's like maybe the smartest. It is the smartest and most grown up Marvel movie, just thematically, but it's also like weirdly probably the most kid friendly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have some of my students who are like 5 and 6 years old have seen it. as well. And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with you having seen that.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes I'm like, oh.
Yeah, well, and Elliot has seen like a bunch of stuff that's questionable for his age to have seen, but like we've let him like Jurassic Park and stuff, so it's like, okay, well,
Mm,
not in the movie theater though, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
yeah, I asked a coworker and he was like, yeah, I don't think there's not really anything in there that's, too rough. It's going to be loud and intense, but it's not like anything that's probably too much for my kids to see. So I'm excited to take them, and I want to make sure that they go and see it. So,
yeah.
yeah.
The language is pretty toned down. Not a lot of cusses, and the violence in the movie is like not very visceral or like scary.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's I mean it's just great. I can't wait for you to see it.
Cool. Man,
Yeah.
hopefully we could get a game at some point. Like,
Oh,
wouldn't it have been great if they would have done like Way Forward did that Mummy Demastered, like a game
yeah.
like that with Black Panther? How great would that have
Oh, I would
been?
love that. I would love for just like some 2D sprite based like brawler platformer
I mean,
Marvel
honestly, like
games.
I bet those games are so like to hire Way Forward to do a game like that has to be
Mhm.
so much cheaper than to do like, like a typical AAA licensed game of the
Yeah.
past. I mean, they don't really exist anymore, but the way they used to be,
Yeah.
it seems like that would be a pretty, I don't know, it could be a fairly effective marketing, thing to just
Yeah.
like hire
Do
a
like a
studio to make a 2D.
$20 downloadable like
Yeah.
five like 3 to 5 hour like brawler platformer.
Yeah, and then there would be an audience that would just, eat that stuff up.
Yeah, like so many people bought that Mummy game
Mhm.
and like no one saw that movie.
Right. So
Like
how many
and
people
no
would have come
one
out of
cared.
how
Yeah.
many people would have come out of being like super excited about Black Panther and been like, "Oh, I got to get the game." You know what I mean? Especially if
Yeah.
it's a simple formula. It's like, okay, it might not be the most amazing game ever, but at the same time,
Hmm.
it ought to be relatively straightforward to make a decent, brawler platformer.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
and it
God.
would just
You
be
know what? That reminds me. Something I've always wanted to pick up, and I need to actually check the price on this, because it's probably not too much, is the DS Thor game. I
Hmm,
believe was for the first Thor movie, I believe was a way forward joint, and I believe it was like a 2D Metroidvania.
okay.
So that's actually something I need to put on my list or look into at least a
Did
bit more.
WayForward do that Alien game that was like a Metroid style?
Isolation, or no, not Isolation.
I don't think WayForward
Infestation.
did that one. Yeah.
No. Infestation. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
it. I've like barely played it,
I need
but
to get. I want to play that. I need to
yeah,
get that.
it's super super cool. I need to actually dig into that at some point. We
And I need to
should.
see Prometheus too. But
Oh,
uh,
Alien Covenant.
yeah.
Yeah, I I liked it.
Okay.
Lindsay hated it. I
All right.
liked it.
Well, did she like Prometheus?
No, we both dislike that,
Ooh. Okay.
but I think Alien Covenant was really great. I liked it a
Okay.
lot. We should
Wow.
do an Alien games episode, like do Alien 3 on SNES
Okay.
and do the DS game.
Okay.
That would
Yeah,
be fun.
I could maybe do that.
I would like that.
Okay.
I always want to dig back into those games, but
Okay.
okay.
Should we
um,
talk about some video games?
yeah. A few other bits of news here. The Shining series is returning to the West. Shining Resonance Refrain is going to be dropping this summer on the Switch and some other platforms, but for the purposes of this podcast, it is coming to the Switch, and the Shining series is it's one of my it's it's one of my favorite yet most heartbreaking series. Like it's right up there with like the Mana Seiken Densetsu series in terms of like how much I love the early games, and then how much the series has like broken my heart in the past few years. But so the Shining series, it started on the Sega Genesis, and it was developed by the early games were developed by Camelot, who are now developing the Mario sports games for Nintendo. They're actually working on the new tennis one. And they did like the Golden Sun series and stuff. So they're like working really close with Nintendo now. But they developed the original Shining games. The first game was actually like a first person dungeon crawler. But then I think like what the series is known most for are the Shining Force games, which was kind of Sega's answer to Fire Emblem back in the day, and their strategy RPGs, and they're games that I've talked about a lot on this show, especially a few years ago when the Game Gear game dropped on the 3DS eShop. I love those games so much. But yeah, the series has kind of been all over the place. It has had like action RPGs. It has had strategy games. Two of the most interesting Shining games actually appeared on the Game Boy Advance, the Shining Soul games, which were developed by Suda51's studio, Grasshopper, which were like basically like Diablo-like loot games on the Game Boy Advance, and I think those games are really, really excellent. I like those a lot. They are also super expensive these days. But yeah, so this game, Shining Resonance, it I watched the Sega stream of the game. I watched about 20 minutes of English gameplay footage, and it looks kind of it reminds me a lot of like a Tales of game. It's super anime, and it looks like a pretty standard like modern JRPG. I think it looks pretty solid. It looks like a game that would be fun to play on the Switch. It's nothing in there seemed like super mind blowing or anything, and it certainly wasn't like a like a throwback to the classic games that I love. But it did, like, even if it didn't have the Shining name on it, like it's a game that would have caught my eye, like coming to the Switch. I think JRPGs are a really great fit for the system, and in this one it looks pretty solid. And apparently there's like dating elements and stuff in there, which I guess needs to be in every JRPG in a post Persona 3 world. But yeah, it looks cool. I actually pre-ordered a copy because there's like a special launch edition with a metal slipcase. So and it's only $50. So after the 20% Amazon or Best Buy Gamers Club discount, it's like $40 for a pretty solid looking JRPG on the Switch. So yeah, I'm on board. I'm curious. I don't have like super high expectations, but yeah, I'm definitely curious to check it out.
That is cool. Probably not something I will go for, but
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
That it's on the way. The slipcase is an interesting development.
Yeah.
Because then on your Switch shelf, you've got like one slipcase, but I guess you can take it out of that metal slipcase if you want to, right? Or is that the only? I guess it's probably the only case that it comes in, huh?
No, like that's just the launch edition. Otherwise, it's just the regular Switch box.
Well, no, but I was thinking like how if you like buy a Blu-ray, they'll sometimes have that like cardboard sleeve that goes over it. I thought maybe it was like one of those things with like the normal case inside, but it's like a steel book, or is it a slip case?
It's a slip case with just the regular case inside.
Oh, okay, cool. So you get the best of both worlds, as they say.
My Switch shelf is already a mess because I have the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 special edition and which is metal um, a metal like
Yeah.
steelbook. And then I have like the Axiom Verge special edition, which is like a giant cardboard thing with like the regular case inside it. So it's like I've already lost any sense of uniform
Yeah.
display for my Switch games, and
I
and I'm okay with it.
I really need to get that Axiom Verge release.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about doing that, and yeah, maybe here coming up once I get done with Zelda stuff, and I'm looking for something for the next couple months. Maybe or in the next couple months, I'll grab that for Switch. But have we talked? I don't remember if we've talked about like the major controversy in the world of Nintendo Switch with the indie games releasing digitally and then coming physically a couple months later. Like, seems to be quite a few of those lately.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's just got me torn. Like, I'm excited to play Owlboy, but I
Yeah.
think I'm just gonna wait until the end of May for when the physical one comes out, because I kind of like the idea of just like having as many physical Switch games as I can. So I think I'm gonna wait, but it's just a bummer because it's like, oh, I could play that like now or really soon. I don't remember if it's out yet or if it's coming out like this weekend or whatever. But
Yeah, it's been out on the eShop for a couple weeks now.
oh, a couple weeks. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, basically, like for me, it's the physical edition needs to like come with extra stuff. Like it needs to have like something in it, like an art book or whatever else, because I buy most of my Switch games digitally. But if it's just like a cart in an empty case, like that doesn't do much for me. Especially if it like costs more.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these like physical copies are like 10 or even $20 more than just buying it on the eShop.
Yeah, they usually are, but then like you said, like with the Best Buy discount, like for me, I think Owlboy's 20 on the eShop and 30 at retail, but on Best
20,
Buy
25 on the
yeah.
eShop. Yeah. So
20, it's 25 on the eShop?
yeah.
Well, I think I can get it for $1 cheaper then.
Yeah.
Or something. So
yeah, I like the convenience of having my Switch games digitally, just because I use the system mostly as like a handheld, and it's just nice to have stuff there. But
sure.
But yeah, so it's kind of I don't know. Yeah, I kind of just play it by ear, and it depends on the game and like the packaging. Like for example, if the Seiken Densetsu collection came out here, that's one I would want to like get a physical copy of, because like the packaging is beautiful and that's like a series I love. I'm also very, very torn about the Street Fighter collection because that cover is amazing and it's like Shinkuro art, and yeah, but like those games also seem like they'd be really convenient to have just like on my system, but that cover is so good, whereas like the Mega Man Legacy collection cover is hideous, and so I'm totally fine with buying that digitally.
Yeah, see, I'm definitely gonna go physical on Mega Man. I think we talked about this on the last episode, but like because you get one of the games as a download anyway, like
Yeah,
I might end up getting also the digital download, the download of the Legacy Collection 1 at some point just to have it. But like another game I might do that with, the next game we may talk about in our news section here, Ryan, is Rocket League, because Rocket League came out physical. I have the digital one, but like at some point, that's going to be on sale for like $12 at some point.
It was on sale at Best Buy this week for $20.
Okay, and so with the discount and everything, like it's practically $15.
Like 16, yeah.
Like I'm gonna get that at some point, I think, just because like, I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself here because I'll talk about it for a moment in our like what we've been playing section or whatever. But like Rocket League is becoming like a defining experience on my Switch, so I just like the idea of like having a copy of it, like when I look back at my Switch collection in 10 years, like I want to see that on the shelf, just because it's like a game that I think I'll have put a ton of time into on Switch. So
yeah. So speaking of Rocket League,
Hmm.
what's the deal with the Rocket League?
Well, the deal with Rocket League is that in a move seemingly designed for this podcast or for us,
Us.
Ryan,
Yeah.
yeah, WWE items are coming to Rocket League this spring, which is super cool. They posted a blog about this, and we actually found out. I got a text from you last week during the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. You were like, "Wait a minute, did they just say they're doing WWE items in Rocket League?" Because they've been promoting or not, they've been sponsoring some WWE pay-per-views for quite a while now. They've been like a pretty regular sponsor of the WWE pay-per-views. So anyway, they announced that they're bringing some items to the Switch this spring. They didn't really say exactly when or what those items would be. I guess they're gonna bring more info out in April, and WrestleMania is in April, so probably launch that stuff around there, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. And I have a question for you because you went to a WWE live event last weekend. Was there any Rocket League happening there? Did they have a demo station up or anything? Or not that you
They
saw?
they did not, but they had on like the screens before the event started, they
Oh,
had
yeah.
Rocket League trailers and stuff.
Okay, cool. Because one of the things they posted here is that in this blog post is that they are going to have Rocket League at WWE live events, which I don't know if
Yeah.
that'll be limited only to like at WrestleMania they'll have like 20 Rocket League demo stations set up, or if they'll just have like a couple on the road at like the little house shows and stuff too. But
Yeah. And what's so great about this partnership is that like the people at Psionics, I think is the name of the
yeah.
company. Yeah, Psionics. They just love wrestling. Like they're wrestling fans.
Hmm.
So they're like, yeah, this is we want to have this partnership because we love wrestling. And like yeah, um I was looking at because I had posted that when it was like kind of stealth announced, like maybe accidentally when they were like just during Elimination Chamber. I think like Michael Cole was just like, and this is sponsored by Rocket League, and WWE items are coming to Rocket League this year, and like that was all that was said about it, and there was like no like nothing else about it. And then like the next day on that Monday, they actually posted it on the site. But I was like, wait, did they just say WWE items are coming to Rocket League? I posted that on Twitter, and one of the a Psionics employee liked my comment, and then like I looked over at his profile and it was just like big wrestling fan. And
Nice.
Yeah, and that just makes me really happy. Like
So I can't wait to be driving like my car around in Rocket League and have like an Anderson and Gallows skin on it, and then like every time I score a goal or like block my friend or something to shout like nerd ski nerds. Yeah, like the possibilities are pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like I said to you, I want a Happy Rusev Day flag on my car.
Yes. Oh my god! Every time you score a goal, you're just like Rusev Day.
Oh my god. Oh man,
It's an exciting
the
development.
possibilities are endless. I'm gonna spend so like I do not buy cosmetic DLC for anything ever.
Now you do.
I'm gonna drop some serious cash on this. I bet it's gonna be ridiculous. And oh man, yeah.
The single most expensive development on the Nintendo Switch since the Arcade Archive series for you, Ryan.
Ooh, it is going to rival the amount of money I've spent. Well, something else I've actually spent quite a bit of money on are the Psycho releases on the Nintendo Switch eShop. And I'm talking about Psycho, the game developer, PSIKYO, Japanese shooter developer. They continue to release some of their classic games from the 90s on the Switch eShop with special versions that are very similar to the Hamster Arcade Archives. So I wonder if there's some sort of collaboration there because they have very similar options and
Oh, do they have like the same awful menu interface and stuff?
yeah, that menu interface is fine.
It sucks.
First of
The
all,
games are great. The ports are great. The menu stuff sucks.
no, it's not
Oh,
bad. It's
every
not
time I
bad.
play an Arcade Archives game, I'm like, wow, this experience is so great, except for this awful, awful, awful GUI. I hate it. I hate
No,
it.
it's totally fine.
Why is
It's
it like when you
fine.
play as with a second player controller, like all of a sudden all the buttons and options are different? Like it doesn't make any sense. It's so bad.
Mm,
I know this
yeah.
is like the most personal attack I could make on you, and I'm like,
Yeah,
you feel like you're
I'm
pulling the knife out of your back right now, but it's just like they suck.
I don't know. I'm so used to it. Like every time I get a new game, like I first pop into the options, change display to display wider screen, change the screen filter to A1, which is the lowest level of scan lines, and then turn off credits display just for a little less screen clutter. Like I have a system for every time I start a new Arcade Archives game.
Okay.
And then I pop over to high score mode and try to get on the leaderboards before other people start playing the game.
Did that work with Zedblade?
uh, well, we'll talk about Zedblade in a
Oh,
little
okay,
bit
all
here,
right.
or as we call it in the U.S., Z Blade.
Right.
Not, I don't think that's what that is. But anyways, it did work with Sengoku too, because as of last time I checked, I was the world's #1 Sengoku 2 player on Nintendo Switch. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so these Psycho games, they're like $8 Arcade Archives prices. They have a lot of variable menu options, and they're just super solid shooters across the board. Great pixel art and all of that. And the most recent one I played is Strikers 1945 2, which is already just an incredible title. And the game is just, it's so absurd. It is like technically like a World War II game because there's like a biplanes and stuff. But it's like a World War II game in the same way like Contra is, I don't know, like a Vietnam game. um like because it's full of like mechs and aliens and stuff. It's super super fun, super ridiculous, again just like amazing pixel art, and $8, you can't beat it, especially considering like the home ports of a lot of these Psycho games. They mostly came out on like the Saturn and Japanese Saturn, and to actually get like a disc copy of these games, they're pretty pricey. Like you're looking at least like $50. So yeah, great stuff there. Zedblade, Zedblade, man, this was one that really really surprised me. I actually kind of slept on it when it first hit the eShop. Just because I was playing a lot of other stuff and like it wasn't one that I had heard of. And just in screenshots, it like I kind of thought I knew what to expect. Which in a way is true, because it is like a side-scrolling shooter. But what really, really sets the game apart is the soundtrack is just incredible. And I forgot, I didn't write down the guy's name, but he's a composer who worked with Cave for many years, and then he joined Bass Escape, which is like a freelance Japanese composer collective. That was he co-founded it with the dude who composed like Final Fantasy Tactics and Sakamoto, I think, and like FF12 and just all these amazing soundtracks. So, anyways, but this composer, he worked with Cave for many years, and then he was the sound guy that M2 brought in for the Sega 3D Classics to help get that sound like perfect. And if you like remember those interviews, did you read those that Sega was posting and translating on their blog with M2
Yeah,
when
yeah.
the
I don't
Sega
remember.
3D Classics were coming out?
Yeah, I don't remember if I read like all of them or not necessarily, but I
Okay.
definitely remember the stories of like, getting down into the machine and, recording the all the little noises it makes and the
Yeah.
vibrations the machines make and like all that stuff and like really accurately reproducing that.
Yeah, yeah. So like he was like the sound guy they brought in, and I believe he composed the new music tracks for Outrun that are in there, the additional music tracks, and he did like
Oh wow.
the credits music and stuff for at least Outrun. I'm not sure what other um games he worked on or if he did any new compositions. Maybe the Fantasy Zone 2. But yeah, like he was definitely involved in those projects. So anyways, he this Zed Blade was one of his earlier um soundtracks, and it is just like it is incredible. The music just like blew me away, and like within like I started playing the game and I was just playing my Switch in portable mode like on the couch, and like halfway through the first stage like I went and got headphones to plug in because I was like, wow. It's just this like really great like electronica soundtrack. It reminds me a lot of Yuzo Koshiro's work on like Streets of Rage 2. In like it's that same kind of like, wow, I can't believe a sprite based game has this soundtrack. It was like that kind of experience. Um and yeah, it's so good. I recorded a video which I'll link in the show notes here. Like I recorded a video and I didn't actually do any commentary for it because I just wanted like the music to be out there. So like I did a playthrough of the game. So if you want to check out the soundtrack, just put in some headphones and watch the video I recorded. It's great.
Okay.
So, what's something you've been playing, John? I feel like I've been talking forever.
Yeah, okay. Well, like I said earlier, I've been playing Rocket League a fair amount, and like everybody knows about Rocket League. We've talked about Rocket League. I've talked about it, but it's just it's so good in local multiplayer. I'm sure it's really good online too, but I've been playing mostly local, at least once a week, if not sometimes more, and I've had some like 3-hour play sessions with people who'd never played Rocket League before and like were super into it and stuff like that. So man, I really really love Rocket League, and yeah, it's become like the multiplayer game on my Switch anytime I'm hanging out, and so that's been really cool. Additionally, I checked out the Mario Odyssey update with the Luigi's Balloon mode update. Have you checked that out yet?
I have not.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of like, yeah, that thing happened. I saw the update and I was just like, not that excited to do it. But I thought,
Yeah.
well, I haven't really played anything new, so I better try that out at least so I can talk about something. So it's a little different than I envisioned it being. I kind of thought it would be more of a process and more of a lengthy excursion through the levels to find stuff, but it's really not. It's very like arcadey, very quick. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I just didn't pay close enough attention to the marketing around it. But like, I thought you were hiding multiple balloons, and you're actually just hiding one balloon, and so then you're only finding one balloon.
Okay.
And yeah, and you don't really have like free reign of the entire level. It's like if you talk to Luigi, he starts you off in a certain spot, like a certain place, and then you go out to hide your balloon. And the longer you take to hide the balloon, I guess, kind of, and the further you get away from that location, I guess, kind of like the more it costs to then go like find that balloon for the other person, but then the bigger reward they get for it. But I think now I'm trying to remember, I think there's a limited amount of time how long you can be out like hiding the balloon. But then when you go to find a balloon, it kind of tells you on screen like how far away it is and what direction they went in. So it's kind of about like, it seems to me like it's about like trying to find like clever little nooks and like places you can put a balloon where somebody might get past it and like have trouble getting to it. Or like one of the balloons I went for in New Donk City was like on the side of a building, but there was like a big gap underneath it. So you kind of had to do that like cap dive like thing probably to get to it that I'm not very good at. So yeah, that's kind of the idea is like, okay, well, I'm going to post or I'm going to go hide a balloon. I'm going to try to put it in a place that's difficult to find or difficult to get to. And then I guess every time somebody plays your balloon game, you get coins, I think. Yeah, and they get coins when they play. Or maybe it's yeah, how does that work? Now, oops, I should have taken better notes. Trying to remember. There's some kind of reward. Yeah, there's a reward for you for hiding the balloons, and like it'll notify you when somebody finds your balloon too. Because that happened very quickly with me. Like I hit a balloon, then I started to go play, and then like 5 minutes later, it was like, oh, somebody found your balloon. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a very, I don't know. I was almost like, it's just it sounds like kind of a slog, and like I don't even really want to bother with it. But then like once I went to do it, it's like, I mean, you could go find 10 balloons in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Or you could hide a balloon in 30 seconds. It's like very quick. So,
okay.
So yeah, I think it's worth checking out. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that are going to get like really into the competitive element of it, and like want to be like really good at hiding the balloons, or, you know, I don't know. Like to me, it's like I don't want to say a throwaway mode, because that's not throwaway, but to me, it's like something I might do every once in a while for 5 minutes. You know, it's not like something I'm going to get super into. But I do think the good thing about it is that, you know, like just doing that, I went to a couple different worlds, and like just doing that kind of got me, I don't know, I went and got a couple moons in those worlds while I was there. You know what I mean? And I haven't really been playing Mario Odyssey. So
yeah,
the idea of like, maybe I'll go do a balloon mode for a couple minutes, like then got me to kind of explore a little more in those worlds too. So, so yeah, you know, it's cool. It's a nice little update. I don't think it's anything to me anyways that's like super duper exciting, but it's fun. I guess you can share a code with people if you want to, so that they can go find your balloons, which doesn't sound great.
A friend code.
Yeah, basically.
Yay.
Yeah, I know. Because, but I'm not totally sure how this works either. Because I went to the hidden. What's that? The world called with the dinosaur? You know the one I'm talking about. Hidden something.
Yeah.
I went to that world. And I think it was that one. Maybe it was New Donk City. But Scott Thompson, formerly of Nintendo World Report, had hit a balloon somewhere in there, and like he was like the first one on my list, you know, and we're friends on the Switch. So I'm assuming that if any of your friends have hidden a balloon in a level, then it'll like, you know, put that on your list. But maybe, I don't know, if you just want to, like, maybe the friend code or the code is more for like if you want to post it like to Twitter or post it like on our blog, and like people can go find those balloons, I guess. I don't know, because it did seem like it populated, because it'll give you like a 3-page list of balloons you can go after, and they're just like random people, you know, online, like
okay,
Japanese, like it was just whatever. So yeah, it just gives you a menu of hidden balloons that you can go track down. But like I said, Scott Thompson was on that menu for me, so I'm assuming that's not random, and that if your friends
pushes your friends to the top.
Yeah, so I don't really. Yeah, so I don't really think the code. I don't really know why I would want to use the code. Like I said, I guess just to post online or something. So because if we're friends, and you're playing a world that I've hidden a balloon in, I think you'll see it. You know.
Okay.
So yeah, but anyway, it's cool. I would check it out. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it seems
nice
fine
to see Luigi. You know?
Yeah, big fan of that guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think it's bringing in a second YOL? A second year?
I don't think it's bringing in a second year of Luigi, unfortunately. Okay. No.
Okay. I didn't
Although, I
know.
mean, if what is it, Next Level that does the Luigi's Mansion or did the
Yeah.
most recent? I mean, there's been some talk, there's been some scuttlebutt that they could be
Mhm.
doing another Luigi's Mansion game for Switch. So,
Oh yeah, I haven't even heard that rumor.
oh, you haven't heard that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I have
Keep
heard that,
up
but I
on this
think,
stuff. Yeah. Huh.
yeah. Well, I mean, because usually probably once a week, I'm like doing the whole thing like is the Google search, like is Next Level making Excite Truck for Switch, and then
Yeah.
when you search about Next Level, you mostly get, wasn't it Next Level that did
No,
that?
those monster games did
Oh,
the
Monster
Excite
Games.
series,
That's
but
right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
started saying that and I was like, nah, they didn't make it. But I think there was a rumor that they were doing one. I don't
Y-
know.
Yeah, when is the Excite series coming to Switch
All right, let me
is
amend. Let me
the
amend my.
most important
Let me
question.
amend my pretend comment. Every week, I Google, is Monster Games making an Excite Truck game for Switch? Is Next Level making an Excite Truck game for
Is
Switch?
retro
Is
making?
Retro making an Excite Truck game for Switch? Is
Yeah,
Microsoft making an Excite Truck game for
sure.
Switch?
I'll take it. Anyone,
Yeah.
please make
Am I making
excite
an Excite Truck
anything.
game for Switch? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excite any vehicle.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Excite scooter. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
down.
Hopefully that. Man, what's the cardboard stuff cost or called? I forget what it's called now.
Labo?
Labo. Hopefully that Labo Excite Truck
Oh, yeah,
game
that's
is,
true.
maybe
Like
that's
that.
really just marketing for like the new it'll be like an Excite bike game, but like Excite Truck or something. I don't know.
It does look a lot like an Excite game.
It's very Excite bike, yeah, but I don't know how
Yeah.
Excite Truck or Excite Bots it is. But
I
yeah.
mean, I will say I am very excited for it.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, that's Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Balloon Mode. Ryan, check it out next time you toss that game into your
Yeah,
Switch.
I haven't quite been in the mood for it. I like Mario Odyssey a lot. It hasn't really been something I felt like playing though. I'm sure I'll definitely like go back to it at some point. I love that game, but
Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey is a wonderful game, but I'm here to say it. Maybe it's a little too early for the backlash, but I'm here to
uh-oh,
lash back.
uh-oh,
No, it's just not as,
uh-oh.
to me, it's just not as good as Mario Galaxy. Obviously it's not Mario 64. Like I think it's I think it's a great game, but like it just, to me, it's, I don't think Mario needs to be quite that open. So I just, it's not my favorite kind of Mario game. It's amazing. It's a really great game. It's better than most games that came out last year or whatever, etc. It's a great game, but like when it comes down to it, and I'm talking about my favorite 3D Mario games, that's going to be somewhere in the middle, not at the top. So
Yeah,
that's
I
where
think that's kind of where it falls for me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Just somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I still I don't know. Mario 3D Land was like really the last one that just like, oh my god, like blew me away. And that's weird because like it's not a lot of people's favorite Mario game, but like playing that on the 3DS was like, that was kind of the I don't know, like that felt so good. That game made me really, really happy. That was like the last one that really like blew me away. And prior to that, I guess Galaxy won.
Yeah.
But anyways, like they're all, like you said, they're all still like the best games like ever, regardless. Like better than everything else that came out. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it just, like you said, I'm not feeling super pulled into going back to it that often. So
yeah, it's just one I haven't really been playing. Yeah. Um, cool. So now that we've slagged off Mario, on our Nintendo podcast, what do we talk about next? Let's see. I grabbed Membrane on the eShop, which is made by I'd say a friend of the show. And yeah, it is Setha Scott was kind of the lead behind it. It is a pretty interesting indie game. It is a kind of I would say like a physics puzzle platformer, I guess, if we if we had to like pigeonhole it, but it's a very kind of trippy experience. The art in it, actually playing it like gave me a what was the MTV animation block back in
Oh,
the
like with
90s?
Eon Flux and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like the Max, and
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
did they
talking
have a
about.
name
Daria.
for that?
They probably did, yeah, but I don't. I'm not remembering now what that
That like
was.
really like just kind of like weird and sort of uncomfortable um arts art style, but like not in a bad way, but in a like very striking, like I guess meant to make you feel a bit uncomfortable kind of way. um yeah, that's what it reminds me of. And I'm not gonna say too much about the game because I've only played through like the first couple of worlds, and I'm really hoping to
Liquid television.
yes,
Liquid television, yeah.
yes, it is the liquid television art style.
Okay. All right. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's super interesting. But I'm hoping to once Seth has an opportunity, a break in his kind of promotional schedule for the game, I'm hoping to actually have a talk with him either on the podcast or via email or something, to kind of chat about the game because I think it's super interesting, and like I'm super curious about like where these ideas came from. But yeah, I definitely recommend the game. Um it's just because like it's so different than the kind of stuff that's on the Switch eShop right now, especially just in like the art and feel of it. And it's only $10 on the eShop, and the levels can be played like pretty quickly. Um, in some ways, like because it's a lot of like single screen esque puzzles, and it reminds me a little bit of Donkey Kong 94, weirdly,
Hmm.
um, via liquid television art style. But what I super love about the game is that it's kind of a puzzle platformer for dumb people, because I feel like I always get to a point in puzzle platformers where I'm like, I don't even know what to do here. Like I can't do anything. But with this game, you can pretty much like like cheese your way through stuff and like go about things in a really weird way to get to the exit. um and in that way it kind of reminds me of like even some of like the the ways I solved shrines in Breath of the Wild, where I'm like, I know this is not what they intended for me to do, but I can't figure out the right way to do it, so I'm just gonna do some like weird thing to get to the exit here.
Hmm.
um but also like almost like scribble knots as well, because like I in that like I'm like I'm not really sure what you're trying to get me to do here, so I'm just gonna like jetpack. And yeah, so I really like that aspect of it. But yeah, again, like really hoping to talk to Seth about it because it's a fascinating game. I think it's one worth checking out, or even just like watch some videos if you're on the fence, or like look at screens of it in the eShop. But it's pretty cool, pretty cool.
Nice.
Um, and I guess the last thing I need to mention here is I bought a what is it called? Hyperkin Super Retron HD, which is the I guess most recent iteration of the Super Nintendo Super Famicom Retron, um, and it is an HDMI system. So I have been playing my Super Nintendo and Super Famicom games for the past, I don't know, 2 years probably on a Retron 2, which I have hooked up to my TV via S video cable. Um, and I saw a review of this on Nintendo Life and this new piece of hardware, the Super Retron HD. And um, like I really want an analog. Um, but that is also like after shipping and stuff, it's like $220, which is a little I'm just like not comfortable with that price quite yet. It's still just it seems like a lot when I already had a device that I could play Super Nintendo games on, and like they looked, not the best, but like pretty good. And I was playing games on it and it was fine. But then like I saw the review of this Super Retron HD, and it's kind of kind of in the middle between the Retron 2 and the analog. But what really got me was the price. It's $69, which is nice, and it was available on Amazon with 2-day Prime shipping. So I decided to just like give it a go, because that was a price like I was super comfortable with, and I know with like Amazon return policies, like if it like didn't work or was like super crappy or whatever, like I could just return it. So it didn't feel like the kind of like hovering over the buy button experience I was having with ordering an analog, where I'm like, oh man, this is $220 after shipping. I don't
Yeah.
know when I'll get it. It could be like a month or two from now, like who knows. And that's a lot of money. So I ended up just going with this Super Retron, and I played a ton of it last night, and I'm really happy with it. Games ran really well. I have my retro TV hooked up through a sound bar, so like I had the sound pretty cranked, and I thought the sound sounded really good. The hardware itself, I think, is pretty nice looking. It's pretty compact and feels like way more sturdy than the Retron 2, and it like looks a lot better. Carts pop out just fine. And I tried out what did I play? Well, of course, I played Spawn on SNES. Had to give it the Spawn test, which it passed with flying colors. That's a good one actually for testing sound, actually, because that game has like a really like deep and moody soundtrack with like it uses a lot of like weird sound channels, and like it kind of like fades in and out, and so yeah, I had that like cranked through the sound bar, and I thought it like sounded really really good. And yeah, the game looks and runs really nice. Like I'd say it's, to me, the games. I also played like Super Metroid and Turtles in Time. I popped in the Super Game Boy and played some Final Fantasy Adventure. Yeah, like to me, just the experience of like sitting down playing it on my TV. I wasn't doing any comparison or anything, but at least with Super Metroid, I played through like the opening, and I was pretty much like, yeah, this is kind of pretty much the experience you get playing on a SNES Classic. And it may be wildly different if you actually like compared them 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure like Digital Foundry or something will do like a great comparison video and be like, whoa, this is like crazy how different this is. But just like me sitting down with the controller and just playing it on my TV that I play all my retro games on, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty much what I'd want. Like I don't have any complaints with it. So I mean, I still need to obviously put like more time into it and try a lot more games, But as of right now, I'm pretty dang happy with the console, especially at that price.
Well, I think Super Nintendo emulation quality is pretty good, you know. So like with the Super NES Classic, or I'm pretty sure with this Retron HD or whatever, like you have Super Nintendo emulation going on, and that should look good. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like it's like a complicated. I mean, there are complicated, like Mode 7 and all that stuff. There are issues or complications with Super Nintendo stuff. I think that's been worked out for quite a while, and
Yeah.
unless they screwed something up, which it doesn't sound like they did. I've read some reviews of it and they seem to be pretty positive. So,
Yeah.
it should be pretty solid, honestly. I mean, really, so the Super NES Classic is good enough for most people in terms of emulation quality and all that stuff. And I would, like you said, this is probably right on par with that, because I think that's pretty much on par with Super Nintendo emulators and stuff. So that is cool. I played a little Turtles in Time this morning myself, Ryan, just to
nice.
Feel kind of in sync with you,
Mm.
And I had to say that I used my SF30 Pro controller from 8-Bit Do, which we've talked about on the show
Nice.
before. Man, that controller is great. Just another commentary on that, because I talked about it when I got it, but I don't know how much Super Nintendo I played with it. I think I'd played more like Switch games with it and stuff. That was one of the reasons I wanted it, was because of the two sticks at the bottom.
Yeah.
I've used this for Rocket League and stuff, and it was like a very kind of inexpensive method of getting a second, basically full featured Nintendo Switch controller for like $30 or whatever. Maybe it was 40, I can't remember, but yeah, and I was a little worried about not worried, but I thought, well, I would prefer to have not the Pro version, but the more standard Super Nintendo version, the SF30 or the SN30. But I played Turtles in Time this morning with this thing, and the D-pad was fantastic. Like, it just felt really, really good.
Yeah.
And my thumbs never caught on these bottom sticks like I thought they might,
Okay.
Nintendo game. So it was actually great. Now, I think I've played some Street Fighter 2 with this, and trying to do the quarter circles and stuff. I think my thumbs did kind of catch on the bottom a little more on those analog sticks. Not like it was a major issue or anything, but yeah, I think if you want to play like primarily Super Nintendo or pre-analog stick era games, like it would be good to get the just the standard version of this 8-Bit Do controller. But and I think I will get one of those. But yeah, this thing is great. It's really, really good. But so is Turtles in Time.
Oh man. Yeah.
I took out Baxter Stockman and Metalhead this morning, and God, it's such a cool game. It's just
I actually played last night. I played through the pirate stage.
Okay.
So fairly about, I think that's about maybe a little past the halfway point.
Yeah. I had to stop at surfing in the sewers just so I'd be ready to do the show this morning.
Yeah. Wow.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
No, I'm considering buying a pair of the 8-Bit Do wireless SNES
Adapters.
controllers. Just like the straight up just plain SNES wireless controllers with the SNES ports to play to maybe hook up the Retron in like the living room on the big TV for Lindsay and I to play, and like having friends over and stuff.
But you have at least one of these, don't you?
I have the one with the adapter for yes, I do have one, but
okay.
I have the adapter for the
Wii remote adapter thing.
Yeah, the SNES Classic.
I see. So they sell a Bluetooth adapter that just plugs into like an SNES port, like a controller port.
Yeah.
And the Retron HD, is that what it's called? That doesn't have Bluetooth controller support? Because if it does, you probably wouldn't need that thing.
That's a great question, actually.
I would kind of think it would have
it could
Bluetooth controller support. So if that's the case, you wouldn't need the adapter. But
Yeah.
or I would assume you wouldn't need the adapter, because that's the other thing that's great about these 8-bit Do controllers.
Uh-huh.
I, in the last couple of days, have used this on my PC, my Mac, my Switch, and my SNES Classic. You know what I mean? So it's like one controller, and you could use it everywhere, and it's not, you don't have to like repair every time or anything. You just press a different button when you're turning it on, and it'll connect to the right device, and it's pretty good. So
That is awesome.
yeah, yep.
So it looks like I'm looking at, yeah, they have SNES wireless adapter, Bluetooth. Looks like they're $40 for the controller and the adapter. That's okay. Yeah.
Well, something to explore, because
Yeah.
you know, like I said, maybe you can just, because I think just the SF30 or whatever is only like $30, isn't it, or even 20 something dollars without the adapter.
Yeah.
And like I said, you might not need it.
Possibly. I don't know. I know for an analog NT, you do need the adapter.
Okay.
But yeah, well, I'll see. Either way, like it's pretty cool to have all these options.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's a fun time that this stuff is like getting made, and you can actually just like order it on Amazon. It's really cool that you know, retro game stuff is becoming so playable on modern TVs and stuff finally.
One more question about the Retron HD. Does that accept Famicom? I forgot to ask you that. Super Famicom. Super Famicom. Yeah,
yes,
Super Famicom.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty full featured and pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm super happy with it. And it's also I should say one other thing that makes me like more comfortable about this purchase. Like, don't get me wrong, I am still planning on buying an analog at some point. Mm-hmm. That is definitely something that's going to happen in my life. But one thing that this does make me feel more comfortable with is buying repro carts, like the Joe and Mac collection and the Brawlers pack, like those Data East carts that I had you know, I really wanted those, but like I heard that like they like the on the boards or whatever might not be like a great fit for hardware, so like that's not something you'd want to use on your like $200 analog system. But on something like this, like I'm way more comfortable with trying those out. Yeah. And because it was like, you know, $69, which is like, it's the price of like a modern game essentially. Mm-hmm. So I'm more interested to like experiment with some of those carts and stuff as well. I definitely want to get that that Caveman collection and the Brawlers pack at some point as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, on that note, I guess that kind of wraps up this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you want to check out our blog, you can at nintendofunclubpodcast.com. You can check out our videos on the YouTube channel. Just search for Nintendo Fun Club Podcast, or it will be linked on the blog. And yeah, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Google Play or whatever. As for myself, you can find me on Twitter at BrawnDwarf, BrawnDwarf. And where can folks find you, John?
I am on Twitter at Arcade Ghost.
Cool. Well, thank you a ton for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday, Ryan. Happy birthday, Nintendo Switch.
Happy birthday, Metal Slug 3, King of Fighters 98, and I don't remember what other game came out at the Switch's launch of the Neo Geo Arcade Archives.
Happy birthday, Shinsuke Nakamura, last weekend.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Shovel Knight, Spectre of Torment. Happy birthday, Breath of the Wild.
Mm, yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, weird internet heat for Sidon, the Prince Sidon in Breath of the Wild. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy Happy birthday.